Hello, good evening and Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rozambri and you're watching Malaysia Tonight. In our top stories this evening, pupils are encouraged to wear face masks when returning to school. TLDM confirms participation of 13 foreign ships in Lima 2023. The Education Ministry held a special discussion today following the emergence of the new Omicron subvariant partakers in Malaysia. The discussion also included suggestions on reinstating mandatory face masks in schools following the ministry's recommendation. Education Minister Fadlina Sidit said the special discussions were to find the best solutions for the health and safety of all students who will begin school next week. In a Twitter post today, she said a special discussion which she chaired this morning discussed on the COVID-19 transmission issue. Suggestions on using face masks were implied in finding the best solution for the health and safety of the children going back to school next week. The Health Ministry has suggested mandatory face masks in schools to curb the hike in COVID-19 cases following the new XBB.1.16 variant outbreak. Health Minister Dr. SAHIH Mustafa said she will hold a meeting with Fadlina before schools reopen on the 2nd of May. She added that guidelines and standard operating procedures involving students in schools will be released before the end of the Adil Fitri holidays. On a related note, Dr. SAHIH said the pupils will be encouraged to wear face masks when they return to school next week, but it will not be compulsory. She said this was in view of the current downward trend of COVID-19 cases in the country.
Kita tidak memikirkan untuk mewajibkan, tetapi kita menggalakkan. Tetapi apapun saya akan berbincang dengan YB Fadlina untuk melihat daripada garis panduan yang mungkin kita akan berikan kepada ibu bapa dan kanak-kanak di sekolah.
Met in Kuching today, Dr. SAHIH, however, stressed of guidelines on why there is a need to control the spread of COVID-19 in schools, especially with the new Arcturus variant. The Arcturus, or XBB.1.16, is a subvariant of the Omicron virus. The Royal Malaysian Navy TLDM has confirmed that 13 foreign battleships will participate in the Langkawi International Maritime and Aerospace Exhibition Lima 2023, scheduled to take place on 23rd to 27th of May. Navy Chief Admiral Dato' Abdul Rahman Ayub said there are still 2 countries who have yet to confirm their participation. He said, however, those countries still have time to confirm their participation. Overall, TLDM is expecting 15 foreign naval vessels, including from Italy and the United States, to participate in Lima 2023. Admiral Dato' Abdul Rahman said this to the media after attending celebrations from the 89th TLDM Day in Lumut, Perak. The theme for the Lima exhibition this time around is the nexus of Asia's maritime and aerospace trade. The last time the biannual exhibition was held back in 2019. Meanwhile, Admiral Dato' Abdul Rahman in his speech said the Navy is facing challenges operating outdated and aging assets as well as its maintenance. He added that attention was given to the acquisition of new assets to replace obsolete Navy vessels. Meanwhile, Admiral Dato' Abdul Rahman also informed that the project on the reconstruction of the littoral combat ships LCS is expected to begin 3 months after the 6th supplemental agreement is concluded. The contract, which is being prepared by the Ministry of Defence, will see several amendments to the initial timeline and costs. The contract is hoped to be able to resume as soon as possible and signed at Lima 2023. At the moment, the main focus is procurement of LMS Batch 2 as approved in the 2023 budget. Earlier, Defence Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Hassan said the LCS project will proceed and the first ship is expected to operate in 2026. The LCS project had previously stirred controversy when the National Accounts Committee revealed that none of the ships have been completed, even though the government had paid 6.083 billion ringgit to Basut Naval Shipyard Sdn Bhd. CIMB Private Banking has received a series of awards, including Best Domestic Private Bank for the fourth year running at the 2023 Asia Money Asia Private Banking Awards. The other awards the bank backed this year include Best Digital Private Banks, Best for ESG Investing, as well as Best for High Net Worth in Malaysia. These awards, the banking group said, reaffirm their expertise in meeting the needs of high net worth individuals and families at every stage of their wealth journey. CIMB Group Wholesale Banking CEO Novan Namiruddin in a statement said the group would like to thank the clients for their unwavering support and trust in CIMB's capabilities, as the group remain committed to delivering the right solutions and advice to help clients navigate the challenging investment landscape. He said CIMB Private Banking's continuous focus on building a robust client coverage model and strong investment advisory has been central to the expansion of its client base. Meanwhile, Novan added CIMB Group's network provides the advantage of seamless cross-border services for its clients, especially between Malaysia and Singapore. Coming up, Plus activates Smart Lane for smoother post-fire traffic flow. The Rural and Regional Development Ministry, KKDW, will focus on building new houses as well as replacing dilapidated houses in Kedah in an effort to provide comfortable homes for the people in the state. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said the Rural and Regional Development Ministry had identified some settlement areas having dilapidated houses and was waiting for a complete list from the Kedah Regional Development Authority, Kedah.
Pada keseluruhannya untuk negeri Kedah kita mempunyai peruntukan yang telah dikhususkan, namun kita akan melakukan penyesuaian dan penambahan setelah kita mendapat senarai muktamad daripada Kedah sendiri dan juga daripada pengarah KKDW wilayah utara untuk saya mengarahkan bahagian pembangunan bagi melakukan pembaik pulihan dan juga pembinaan semula dalam sesegera yang mungkin.
Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid, who is also the Minister of Rural and Regional Development, said this to reporters after the walkabout program at Desa Kedah Sadikin, Baling today. He said the focus will be on the Baling district, which had been hit by floods 11 times during the last general election. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid said KKDW, through Kedah, had built 8 units of semi-detached houses at the settlement program for the hardcore poor PPRT in Desa Kedah Sadik last year, involving an allocation of 528,000 ringgit. Plus Malaysia Berhad Plus will be activating the Smart Lane, which is temporarily opening up the emergency lane for general access at certain critical areas on the highway to increase capacity. The move will be made for smoother traffic flow in conjunction with the end of the school holiday and Labour Day holiday between 29th of April and 1st of May. The Smart Lane has been regularly activated at 2 routes, namely the northbound Port Dickson intersection to Seremban intersection and Senai intersection to Kelai intersection throughout the festive period. Once the Smart Lane is activated, highway users will be allowed to temporarily enter and utilise the emergency lane at selected areas and will be redirected back to the normal lanes to continue their journey. However, they must not use the emergency lane at other locations where no Smart Lane is activated. Smart Lane locations can be identified through special Smart Lane signage as well as the presence of traffic controller station at the designated locations or by referring to the Plus social media page via Facebook and Twitter. 7 individuals were injured in a road accident that occurred at kilometre 72 Jalan Kampung Saujana headed towards Kampung Fikri Soti earlier this morning. 2 vehicles were involved in the incident. Setia District Police Chief Deputy Superintendent Afandi Hussain said the incident occurred involving one car, which was on the way to Besut heading towards Setia, while the other car was headed to Besut from Kuala Terengganu. The incident was believed to have been occurred when the car, which was headed to Besut, went out of control and swerved into the opposing lane before colliding with the other car. The collision resulted in the injuries of both car drivers and all passengers. They were all brought to the emergency unit at Hospital Setia for further treatment. The case is currently being investigated under Section 43, Subsection 1 of the Road Transport Act 1987. The Pontian Magistrates Court today set 30th of April for the sentencings of 4 men, including 2 brothers, who pleaded guilty to a charge of using criminal force and causing hurt on a policeman on Aidilfitri last Saturday. The 4 men pleaded guilty to the charge made against them before Magistrate Nur Azwin Abdul Muali. Brothers Muhammad Effendi Muhammad Said 40 and Muhammad Fazli Muhammad Said 24 and Khalid Khamis 38 were jointly charged under Section 353 of the Penal Code with using criminal force to deter Lance Corporal Muhammad Hasrul Muhammad Namiri from discharging his duty. They were charged with committing the offence at Kilometre 7 Jalan Kulai heading to Kota Tinggi near Kulai at about 3 p.m. last Saturday. They face a maximum jail term of 2 years or a fine or both for the offence. Another accused, Muhammad Haikal Karim 23, was charged with voluntarily causing hurt to the same policeman at the same time and location. The judge, framed under Section 323 of the Penal Code, provides a jail term of up to a year or a fine of up to 2,000 ringgit or both upon conviction. Deputy Public Prosecutor Nurazati Zaini prosecuted while the 4 accused were unrepresented. Bail of between 1,500 ringgit and 2,000 ringgit each were allowed pending sentencing at the Kulai Magistrates Court. A 1.2 kilometre stretch of Jalan Tun Hamzah heading towards Bukit Katil near Taman Uzana Impian in Melaka has been closed to vehicles following the appearance of a sinkhole. State Public Works, Infrastructure, Public Amenities and Transport Committee Chairman Dr. Hamid Maithin Kunjabashir said the road was closed at 2 a.m. today to enable repairs to be made to the collapsed section and a 400mm underground pipe which was damaged in the incident. He said the repair works were being undertaken by contractors of Syarikat Air Malacca's Berhad, SAMB, and the road was expected to be reopened by midnight tonight before the long holidays this weekend. High water pressure emanating from a burst joint of the pipe caused a section of the road to collapse at about midnight last night, leaving a 5-metre deep crater.
Kejadian berlaku jam 2 pagi, 12 malam semalam, jam 12 malam dan bermula jam 2 pagi, 2.30 pagi tu kita dah mula tutup trafik kerana dapat runtuhan ataupun mendapan tanah dekat jalan ni. Jadi bermula jam 3 pagi itulah kita dah tutup lalu lintas kat sini, trafik kat sini dah tutup. Dan di mana saya cakap tadi, selewat-lewatnya jam 12 malam esok kita akan bukalah. Kalau boleh awal lagi bagus.
He said this to reporters when visiting the sinkhole location today. Datuk Hamid said no casualties were reported in the sinkhole incident. He said vehicles heading from the Airkroh Toll Plaza to Bukit Katil can pass through Kampung Tun Razak via the right junction in front of Sekolah Menengah Sains Muzaffar Shah. He said water supply to about 200 SAMB account holders in the Taman Uzana Impian Phase 3 industrial and resident areas was disrupted by the incident. However, water supply to those 2 areas was fully restored by 11 a.m. Coming up in our foreign segment, 7 killed in fire on passenger train in southern Pakistan. The 30 Malaysians who were rescued from the conflict-torn Khartoum, Sudan are scheduled to return home tomorrow. Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Zamri Abdul Qadir said those rescued are consisted of Wisma Putra officials, Petronas workers and students.
Dan insya-Allah dengan usaha bersama yang ditunjukkan ini, rakyat Malaysia akan bertolak nanti kita jangkakan mereka akan tiba pada hari Jumaat besok. Jangkaan ketibaan mereka kalau sekiranya segala persiapan dibuat, maka jangkaan ketibaan mereka ialah sekitar pukul 4 petang.
They earlier arrived at the King Faisal Naval Base in Jeddah today after travelling for about 9 hours from the port of Sudan on board the Saudi Arabian naval ship HMS Aba. Along with the Malaysians on the ship were 22 citizens of other countries, namely 14 Singaporeans, 6 Cambodians and 2 Americans that were helped to be rescued. More than 400 people were reported to have been killed and more than 3,500 others were injured as a result of the armed conflict between the Sudanese Armed Forces and the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF) that broke out on 15 of April. Meanwhile, the Sudanese army has pounded paramilitary fighters with airstrikes in the capital, Khartoum, while deadly fighting has fled in Darfur as a ceasefire that has slowed street battles is set to expire. Columns of smoke rose today near the presidential palace in Khartoum and areas north of the capital as aircraft flew sorties. The Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF) said its rival, the Sudanese Armed Forces, bombed its camp in the Kafori district with warplanes. Battle continued despite a 3-day US brokered ceasefire that took effect early on Tuesday. Aircraft patrol the skies over the capital's northern suburbs and fighters on the ground exchanged artillery and small arms fire. The army said it agreed to talks in Juba, capital of neighbouring South Sudan, on extending the truce. At least 7 people were killed after a car on a moving passenger train caught fire overnight in southern Pakistan. Railways officials today said the train caught fire in Khairpur, a district about 500 kilometres north of Karachi, the capital of Sindh province. Officials said 6 people were killed in the blaze, while a woman died when she jumped from the window of the moving train. The blaze also badly damaged several other cars in the train, and the cause remain unclear. TV footage showed several burned sections of the train, which was on its way from Karachi to the eastern city of Lahore when a car caught fire. Local media reported that the flames roared through the train Wednesday night, engulfing several cars. In Pakistan, poor passengers often bring their own small gas stoves on the trains to cook their meals despite rules barring the practice. Safety regulations are often ignored in overcrowded trains. Train accidents in Pakistan are often the result of poor railway infrastructure and official negligence. A Chinese Coast Guard ship blocked a Philippine patrol vessel steaming into a disputed shoal in the South China Sea, causing a frightening near collision in the latest act of Beijing's aggression in the strategic waterway. The high seas face-off between the larger Chinese ship and the Philippine Coast Guard's BRP Manapurskani, the second Thomas Shoal, was among the tense moments it and another Philippine vessel encountered in a week-long sovereignty patrol in one of the world's most hotly contested waterways. The Philippine Coast Guard had invited a small group of journalists to join the 1,670-kilometre patrol for the first time as part of a new Philippine strategy aimed at exposing China's increasingly aggressive actions in the South China Sea, where an estimated $5 trillion in global trade transits each year. In scorching summer heat but relatively calm waters, the Malapusca and another Philippine Coast Guard vessel, the BRP Malabrigo, journeyed to the front lines of the long-seating territorial conflicts. They cruised past a string of widely scattered Philippine-occupied unclaimed islands, islet and reefs looking for signs of encroachment, illegal fishing and other threats. Coming up in sports, Zijia and Ziyong bide the dust at Asia Championships. Men's singles defending champion Li Zijia was eliminated in the first round in the 2023 Badminton Asia Championships BAC last night to join the big list of Malaysian shuttlers returning early. The 25-year-old Kadahan, who was expecting to return to his top form, went down to world number 17, Angus Ng Kai Long of Hong Kong, 19-21, 16-21, after a 39-minute battle at the Sheikh Rashid bin Hamdan indoor hall of the Al Nasser Club in Dubai. The Hong Kong shuttler will be challenged by Kanta Tsuneyama of Japan, who upset Naples' Prince Dahal 21-7, 21-13 in the second round. World number 4 Zijia started the year on a low with early elimination at the Malaysia Open, India Open, Indonesia Masters and German Open, but showed hope after advancing to the semi-finals of All England and Swiss Open recently. Ng Ziyong also failed to show up as he lost in the first round 21-17, 21-18 to Lee Chok-kyu. The early round exit was certainly uncharacteristic for Ziyong, as it shows that he still has plenty of catching up to do, despite having slayed Denmark's world and Olympic champion Victor Axelsen at the All England. Meanwhile, reigning world champions Darren Chia and Sohuyik showed nerves of steel to beat Indonesia's Leo Rolly Fernando and Daniel Martin in the BAC opener. Aaron and Wuyik, the runners-up last year, saved 2 match points at 2018 to seal a thrilling 19-21, 21-19, 22-20 win over the Indonesians, who beat the Malaysians in the first round of the All England last month. The win set up another massive clash with Olympic champions Li Yang and Wang Qilin of Taiwan. The other two Malaysian men's pairs, Ong Yu Sin, Teo Yi and Men Wei Chong, T Kai Won, are also true after beating their respective rivals from India. Yu Sin Yi overcame M.R. Arjun Dhruv Kapila 12-21, 21-6, 21-12, while Wei Kong Kai Won made a winning return in the first tournament since January with a 21-12, 21-17 win over PS Ravi Krishna Sankar Prasad Udayamakumar. Moving on to Premier League race, Kevin De Bruyne netted a brace for himself to help Manchester City strike a blow at Arsenal's road to Premier League title as they outclass the leaders 4-1 with an electrifying display at the Etihad Stadium this morning. Pep Guardiola's relentless side ran riot as they made it 12 successive league wins against Arsenal. De Bruyne fired City ahead in the 7th minute from Helens' pass, and the posts bombarded Arsenal's goal before John Stones deservedly doubled the lead with the header in first half stoppage time. Arsenal, who began the clash 5 points clear but having drawn 3 successive games, looked powerless to stop the onslaught, and when De Bruyne struck again early in the second half, it became a damage limitation operation for the leaders. Rob Holding grabbed an 86-minute consolation, but it was too little too late for the Mikel Arteta side. Helen finally got on score sheet in stoppage time for his 49th goal of the season in all competitions, the most by a top-flight player in England since Clive Allen in 1986-1987. City's 7 successive league win left them with 73 points to Arsenal's 75, but crucially, they have played 2 fewer games than the Londoners, whose hopes of a first title since 2004 now look fallen after 4 games without a win. Guardiola's City have trailed Arsenal for almost the entire season, but will go top if they beat Fulham at the weekend. Meanwhile, a bullet header from Joel Matip gave Liverpool a 2-1 Premier League win over West Ham United that moved them above Tottenham Hotspur and back into the European places after a frenetic end-to-end game at the London Stadium this morning. The visitors had to battle hard for the victory, with West Ham taking the lead in stunning fashion in that 12th minute when Lucas Paqueta cut in from the left and played a 1-2 with Mikel Antonio before firing home from the edge of the area. The lead lasted only 6 minutes as Dutch striker Cody Gakpo received a pass in a central position, taking a touch before quickly unleashing a bouncing shot that evaded the dive of Lucas Fabianski before nestling in the far corner. After having a shot blocked a minute earlier, Matip got the winner in the 67th minute when he powered home a close-range header from Andy Redson's corner. The Reds are in 6th spot in the table of 53 points ahead of Spurs thanks to their far superior goal difference and 1 point behind Aston Villa with a game in hand as they seek to salvage a disappointing season. That concludes this edition of Malaysia Tonight. In our top story, pupils encouraged to wear face masks when returning to school. We'll leave you with visuals of Seville's Feria de Abril Spring Fair, one of Spain's most iconic fiestas dating back to the 19th century when it was a livestock fair. It then evolved to become the yearly social gathering where Andalusian traditions start hate. I'm Nora Zamri. Stay tuned to Salon.